Coming up, a victim of the I-75 shooting talks about her recovery.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The work week started off a little wet after a nice weekend, and it could be a rainy week. We need some of that rain, but it might come with the price in the form of severe weather. We've declared a first alert weather day for tomorrow and Wednesday. Meteorologist Eric Dean joins us now with the latest. Eric.
All right, so Steve, earlier we were talking about rain and thunderstorm chances being in the forecast for tomorrow. After the 6th, we got the new models in, and now we can confidently say tomorrow and Wednesday will be first alert weather days. Tomorrow due to severe weather, Wednesday due to excessive rain. Here's what we know so far. Rain chances will become more widespread as we go throughout the week. Here's what we're still learning. How much rain will we see? And the guidance is still inconsistent with some of the amounts still. So that's a couple things that we need to keep an eye on. Live pinpoint Doppler radar showing some ground clutter across the area right now. Some places still seeing a little bit of a splash and dash shower, but the big story tonight is going to be the patchy fog, where we're seeing temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Dew points not too far from the ambient temperature. Now, coming up in the next check of weather, we'll go over Tuesday and Wednesday and why we have declared those first alert weather days. Steve.
All right, Eric, thank you. An Indiana woman credits God for saving her life during the mass shooting on September 7th along Interstate 75 in Laurel County. Janet Booth was one of 5 injured in that shooting. Booth was driving home from a hiking trip in North Carolina when she heard gunshots and saw cars pulling off the road. She was shot in her leg. A wounded driver approached her and used a bag from her car to stop the bleeding. She was flown to a hospital where doctors determined that surgery for her fractured hip was too risky, leaving bullet fragments in her leg. She says recovery is expected to take 6 to 12 weeks.
I have a bullet hole in my upper thigh that the nurse said that she could put her thumb in it. It's quite large. That man had 2,000 rounds of ammunition and a high-powered rifle.
Last week, Kentucky State Police confirmed a body found in Laurel County is that of suspected I-75 shooter Joseph Couch. The state's chief medical examiner says the body was positively identified through DNA extracted from the bone. The medical examiner says the body was badly decomposed. Couch's cause of death is believed to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A Southern Kentucky man is in jail accused of trying to kill his mother and grandmother. Chase Jackson is charged with attempted murder.
My grandmother got shot. Someone got shot? We both got shot, baby.
That's the 911 call made by who police say is the mother of Chase Jackson. Police say Jackson shot his mother and 94-year-old grandmother, then took off down Kentucky 90 where he was found and arrested. In an interview from jail, Jackson told us he is not the shooter, but instead says he jumped out a window when he heard someone else shooting.
Like, keep in mind that me and my mother, the one that had called and said that I shot her or whatever, we had gotten into an argument or whatever.
At last check, Jackson's mother and grandmother were in critical condition at UK Hospital. We continue to follow updates on last week's shooting that resulted in the death of Letcher County District Court Judge Kevin Mullins and the arrest of Sheriff Mickey Steins. Today, Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman announced that Sheriff Steins will appear virtually for his arraignment this Wednesday at 11 a.m. with a Carter County District Judge presiding. Both Coleman and Commonwealth's Attorney Jackie Steele are handling the prosecution. More U.S. troops are being sent to the Middle East as American citizens in Lebanon are being told to get out. Tensions in the region are now boiling as Israel steps up its military campaign against the terror group Hezbollah. Officials in Lebanon say Israeli strikes killed nearly 500 people today, including nearly 36 children, and left more than 1,600 wounded. CBS's Chris Livesay is in Tel Aviv.
Missile after missile. More than 1,300 strikes slamming into southern Lebanon. This terrified family watched the bombardment hit their town. Calm down, mother, and pray, a man says. The Lebanese Health Ministry says dozens of women and children are among the victims, but each target, Israel claims, was a location used for storing Hezbollah weapons, including cruise missiles. According to the Israel Defense Forces, these videos appear to capture secondary explosions after the initial airstrikes as those weapons detonate. Israel's government is warning civilians to flee from buildings used by the U.S. designated terror group.
It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage. Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our cities, directly at our citizens.
By the many thousands, Lebanese motorists clogged the highways to escape. Hezbollah exchanged fire of its own, albeit a fraction of the Israeli onslaught. There were no reports of Israeli deaths. Some rockets struck around the northern Israeli city of Haifa, where we visited a hospital. To evade a missile strike, doctors and nurses are now working out of the underground parking garage.
It's more than 200,000 square feet.
Correct.
Dr. Avi Weissman says they've been prepping for years.
But we always kind of hope that we'll never use it.
We're in a bunker with many, many more beds. What does that say about the war?
We need to be prepared for the worst case scenario.
Israel's Army Chief of Staff says it's targeting combat infrastructure that Hezbollah has been building for the past 20 years and preparing for the next phases. But the big question is if those next phases will include a ground invasion. Chris Livesay, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
As prices have gone up for just about everything, one Bell County grocery store is working to help alleviate the strain. Long's Pick Pack in Pineville installed solar panels. Owner Mike Long says it's not easy to operate with a tight budget. With help from the Mountain Association, they were able to secure funding for the project. He says he hopes to save more than $800 monthly once all the upgrades are complete.
We're on a tight budget. You know, wages have gone up, cost of goods have gone up, fuel costs have gone up on deliveries, all those kind of things. And of course, there's been rate increases several times. If we keep energy costs down, we're able to pay our employees and we're able to reinvest. And it does help keep the cost down. You know, we don't have to go up on things.
Long says not only will it save them money in the long run, but it lessens their environmental impacts as well. Business owners in Hazard say the 43rd Black Gold Festival was one of the best. Businesses on Main Street and vendors who set up during the festival say they are happy with their profits. People with both the Goal Line Restaurant and Harvey Nutrition say it was some of their best days.
It was really exciting due to, like, we met new people, our regulars come in, first Black Gold ever. It was amazing. We stayed packed.
Rose says she hopes this exposure will help them expand in the future. Cleanup is underway after a successful weekend for the Bourbon and Beyond Music Festival in Louisville. Officials say about 210,000 people were at the Highland Festival grounds for the 4-day festival. That includes 60,000 fans on Saturday alone. Eastern Kentucky native Tyler Childers was among the headliners, and now preparations are underway for another music festival, Louder Than Life. It's set to kick off Thursday and run through Sunday. Big Blue Madness is less than 3 weeks away. Tickets will drop online through Ticketmaster at 5 p.m. on Friday with a limit of 4 tickets per household. They are free again this year, but due to ongoing renovations at Memorial Coliseum in Lexington, there will be no in-person ticket distribution. Big Blue Madness takes place Friday, October 11th at Rupp Arena starting at 7 p.m. This will be the first one for new head coaches Mark Pope and Kenny Brooks. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, the presidential candidates continue to push in battleground states their message to voters and the latest CBS News polling.
And we've got a lot to talk about in the world of weather. Details in a few minutes. Stay with us.